sure they know your son can do something better than it's what it says on the diagnosis.
This is the conversation we need. And it's vital that we do have these conversations. And I've been there. Even though I saw what I was seeing, no one would co-sign what I was seeing. I went to the doctor. I said, oh my God, something is wrong. Everyone was just like, oh no, everything is okay. I went to my, everybody was like, everything is okay. And I'm like, no, I have a master's degree. And and even if I'm seeing the signs, I'm seeing the behaviors, no one would co-sign. Thank God for Deborah Knight. Thank God for Deborah Knight, his kindergarten teacher. He finally, after 5 schools and going into a public school, she called me one day and she said, Trey is underneath the table. I have never been so happy in my life for someone calling me to tell me my son is underneath the table, because now someone is going to finally see what I've been seeing. I thank you. I thank you for your advocacy. When Trey was nonverbal, I couldn't see anything else but that. I couldn't see. I felt like I was stuck in a storm that never is going to come. Nothing is going to come. No clarity, no nothing. I couldn't see my way through it. And how do we help parents who are newly diagnosed to see their way through, that is more than just what you're seeing? Because these kids are amazing. They can do great things. How do we help those parents?
First, in terms of helping parents like us need to be a guide of acceptance. One, I will tell every parent who has a new diagnosis, you are a great parent. You are not a failure. You have not failed your child. Repeat that to yourself every day. Let the blame go. God's plan is God's plan. That's number one. Start with the beginning. Find anyone who listened to you, because you'll need assistance by yourself emotionally and physically, as well as your children. And then start from point one. What do you first want your child to do? I know you talked about you wanted your child to speak. I know for myself. And Alan, I just wanted him to look in my eye. So I would do this kind of thing where I would look at him and make him look at me all the time and get him to look in my eye and remember that. That was something that was very important to me. Why I started my consulting business was because of what happened to me. As educated as I am, I did not know anything about autism. I didn't understand how to advocate, and I didn't have resources. And I had to start from scratch. So the way I start from scratch is putting myself at the table. I became a member of the Commissioner's Advisory Panel as a parent and have escalated now to a chairman. I researched. I started doing things in-house, as well as just being able to really understand that reaching out to individuals is what I need. There is a community out there of parents of children with disabilities. And that community is far and wide. Long of the short, pick something. Pick anything. Take a chance. I wanted my son to go to sleepaway camp, and it happened. I wanted my son to play a sport. Found somebody whose child was playing a sport and said, where can I join that sport? Joined New Hyde Park Top Soccer with Mary Jo, and Macon, who gave my son an opportunity to be on a team. I then started doing stigma in my home like I am right now, meeting with parents and starting to debunk the stigma that we had on ourselves. Once that stopped and we forgave ourselves for whatever we needed to forgive ourselves for, then we started doing the work. A room of parents is the most powerful thing you can ever have. I know because I'm a principal. And so let me tell you, parents get together and they start talking, resources just fly out of their mouths. And then you use them and then they become friends and then you do different things. So for me, stigma consulting is a way that I work with parents. I also work in schools just to help them write quality IEPs. I am still an educator, regardless of the fact that I am a principal. I am ready to get into the classroom any day, anytime. So when a teacher says to me, I really want to try this new strategy with my students, my attitude is, let's go together. I'll be your assistant. I have no pride in that. What? Let's go. Let's get in there. Let's get our hands dirty. Let's go. Let's try it. We have to educate our educators so they'll be better because we are losing lots of special educators. They are burnt
Yes,
out.
we are.
They are exhausted. It is almost April break. I always used to tell my students, just to let you know, I'm done too. I'm done too. But we're here working in special education because of our love of children. We are here working in special education because it is necessary to build up a culture of individuals that are amazing. And so that's what stigma consulting is. We help navigate, we read IEPs, we go into schools, I do speaking engagements. I help anyone and everyone who's willing to listen to understand that our children and adults with disabilities are amazing. They are part of society and they are included. They're not going away. And so what can I do to help you do that?
It's refreshing. You know, you're able, as a principal, you're able to come down to a teacher's level and say, let me help out. Let's work on something. Every child, a spectrum is broad. It's broad. And that's what we need to
Yes.
realize. Every child is different on the spectrum. They learn differently. They see things differently. They interpret things differently. And it's so important for us to have advocates like you helping our parents and a principal who's willing to say, and a teacher that is willing to say, let's try something different, a new approach. I think let's try this. This might help Trey. This might help Alan. I see parents that don't even put their children in anything. And I'm like, wait a minute. They still got to live. Give them a sense of normalcy. You know, when we first spoke, I talked about changing Trey's school and how I was so nervous about changing his school. You know, I wanted more for my son. And I wanted him to thrive, but with my own issues, because, you know, you're so, you know, you want to protect him. I was that helicopter mom. I'm hovering over him, and he kept on, you know, hitting me back saying, Mom, I can't do it. Allow me to do it. And I'm looking at him like, oh my God, he's doing it. Everything that they said that they can't do, they can do. Everything they said that they can't do, they can. Baby steps. He may not get it the first time, just like learning to ride his bike. I was like, oh my God, he's gonna learn. He did it after a while, but we have to give them room to grow. They're amazing. They do so much great work, you know, and I'm thankful for the advocacy. We decided to do TAS and to do TAS subscription box because we wanted parents and families that are dealing with a disability to have a voice through their books, through their, you know, through whatever they're doing. We wanted them to have a voice because we wanted people to move from the awareness to the exception and then inclusion, you know, because inclusion is so important. Now, I know that you're doing more amazing things. Could you tell our audience?
I've been doing a lot of speaking engagements. I was featured in ASCD. I have an article. And thank you for that. So I am doing ASCD. I'm doing a conference. I am doing a number of speaking engagements. I also am working in schools. What is next for me, because I'm going to put it in the air, is that I want to do a TED Talk. And I'm actually going to visit one of my good friends who is actually doing a TED Talk April 12th. And I'm so proud of her and I'm going to support her. I want to start working internationally, to be honest with you. We are lucky, I'll say I'm lucky living in New York City because If I lived somewhere else, I don't know if I would get these services. I don't know if I would get the services that I needed to get for Alan as well as my son Aaron. What I am learning is that when I speak, that people listen. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
I am in education, so when people go to my IEP meetings, they're a little intimidated, of course, because I'm a parent of children with disabilities. I was a teacher of children with disabilities. I'm an administrator of children with disabilities. I work with the state and I speak on it. So it's a lot. You get all these different perspectives, but those different perspectives help you and help myself. I think right now, a lot of people have told me that I need to write a book, just the how-tos of managing IEP meetings. One of the things, I had a wonderful conversation with a colleague of mine, and we were talking about just education. And what I said was, we are losing the humanity of education. Why? This is just across the board. This is not for children with disabilities. This is across the board. The humanity, the empathy in education, and especially with our children with disabilities, is
Okay.
necessary. Why is this happening? Why in New York State are we fighting like cats and dogs to get a teacher to be in a classroom? Why are they not getting the resources that they need? Why is the burnout 3 years? What, so they can just get their loan forgiveness? Yes, I will say that out loud. Oh yeah, I'm that person. I was like, you should have me come on
Yeah.
because I'll say it. But that's the truth.
And it's social service too. This is the same thing that's
Yeah, it's
happening. We're seeing it there too
mhm.
as well. We're having some echoes. We're getting like feedback, like you're speaking, and I don't know what's going on, but people are saying that there's like an echoing back and forth. It's happening in social services too as well. There's no empathy for families no more. There's no empathy. There's no joy or no passion in doing things for children and families no more. My teacher, she's a special education teacher. Now she's working to be a principal. She's saying the same thing. They're all saying the same thing. What is happening?
Burnout is real. Burnout is real. Resources are limited. Why is that in the United States that we will quickly remove funding from education and tell administrators, educators, teachers to survive on nothing? Now, we know how to do it. Of course we do. We know how to do it.
Yes.
Why do we have to? There needs to be time for breaks. There needs to be time, true time, for reflection. You cannot improve your craft in education if you do not have time to just be silent and listen. My former superintendent, Jeanette Reed, said silence is golden. She told me that when I was a first year teacher. And I'm a talker, I know that. But when I'm with my students, I have to listen to them so that they can trust me, so that they believe in themselves to reach potential. Period. My students will never trust me if I don't show them that I will give them 100. Now there are days I'm off, but guess what? I'm willing to get critical feedback for them to tell me I'm off. I used to do this in the classroom all the time. I love Post-its. I do believe it's an addiction. I love Post-its. And I used to do a thing called stick it to the door. I put a sticky note on the top left-hand side of my student's desk. We would have our lesson, and once it was over, I'd give them their exit ticket, and I would tell them, stick it to the door. They loved it. They could stick it to the door and laugh. And then sometimes I would tell them to rate me from 1 to 4, just like on a state exam. Some days I got a 2. And the comment was, are you okay today? If they care about you, why can't you give that to them? Your students expect you to give them your greatness so that they, in turn, will push themselves to get to theirs. Period. So I used to tell, and I will say this publicly, I know I'm probably going to get in trouble. March is hell month in education. Let's say what it is. March is no breaks. Everybody's like, oh goodness, I gotta be with kids for a whole month. Let's be honest. I would always encourage my teachers, take a day. Now don't take Monday and Friday. Take a Wednesday. Don't tell anybody in your family you're taking a Wednesday. Do something for yourself. You have sick days, vacation days, personal days for a reason. Use them. You
Self-care.
cannot take them with you when you go. You will not be paid for them. Take a day and just say, I don't want to do anything else. And with that day,
Whew.
research and make a decision that you are going to come back better for your students. Your students will thank you. Ooh, Dr. Williams, man, you look good. Where were you yesterday? "Oh, I just needed a day." And you can tell your students, I just need a day. Oh, we understand. We need a day. The kids will be like, yes, thank you. I need a day. Dr. Williams, you going to give us a day? No, I'm not giving you a day. I'm in school. We joke about it. But they respect that you took the day. Because when you see yourself starting to get snippy, our children watch every move we make.